Welcome, everyone. This is Pilot Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at latest in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Sanswinda.
Hello.
Guerendis.
Hello, everyone.
And Krister.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Is everybody getting ready for the release of Gundabad?
Yes.
that was a real emphatic yes. Let's head into our news for this week, and we will begin with a new article by Cordovan related to the fate of Gundabad, Battle Gauntlets, and Brawling, making a new class, where they discuss the process that went through creating the latest class in the Lord of the Rings Online. Anyone have any comments on this?
I am afraid I have not been able to look at it yet.
Yes.
I mean, I like smacking things around with my brawler, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, no, definitely we'll second that idea.
They have discussions with the development cycle, including the artwork and trying to make them look right and act right, and all those lovely things that you have whenever you have to make a new class.
I love all the little illustrations that they have in here showing what they're talking about.
They'll look right and act right as well. So what is the inspiration? What truly is the inspiration for the brawler?
I think there are several the official one is Helm Hammerhand.
Okay.
That's the official one because that's well within the appendices and stuff like that. I have a feeling that there are certain other characters that may have also been involved in the inspiration that might be a little bit less to call their official inspiration, so to speak, because there are a couple others in there. Plus, I'm sure there's also a little bit of inspiration from the ultimate brawler character in English literature, and that's Beowulf. Because, okay, Beowulf would not have worn the gauntlets. He would have done it with his bare hands.
Then how does that justify little hobbits with their little tiny hands?
You know, we don't question this. We're just really grateful that they're allowed to be brawlers even though they can't be champions. It's amazing.
I mean, could you do like with a little kid where you just grab their forehead and just hold them at arm's length? And they could just never, their arms could never reach you to
I'd like to see you try.
Don't worry, I can throw things at you too. I have this skill to fling things. It's amazing.
You can throw a metal plate, like a rasher plate. I can throw a brick. I can throw a boot. I can throw a mug. And it appears to be a pewter stein. So yeah, I'd like to see you try.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right.
I like the idea of a tater. You know, just a tater bouncing off my head with it.
Waste of a perfectly good tater.
More insolence. I throw this tater. Oh, no, I'll eat this tater. Throw something else.
I'll mash it on your head and then eat it.
Yeah, see, maybe when they come up with river hobbits, which seems more and more likely to happen, that when they do implement river hobbits, maybe river hobbits could be champions.
That would be cool.
That way we could get our hobbit.
No, I want them to be able to equip harpoons.
Harpoons. Well, I guess that would be appropriate for a river hobbit.
Dual wielding automatic harpoon launchers.
Well, I'm not too sure about.
We're not going to get lasers or boars with, boars or sharks, I should say, with lasers. So we got to have something.
Probably mount about 3 laser beams on Dragok if they bothered.
All right, this is going into a little bit of a tangent.
What?
Let's head on to news from our servers, where the Shadowfax server is now open for Mirkwood. So Shadowfax is moving quickly, so to speak. And
I can remember going through Mirkwood that first time, and how I remember the pride of, and now I can't even remember the steed that you earned. What was it? It was like a coal. It was like a black steed.
Yeah. Or well, it was a really dark gray. I thought.
Yeah,
it was a,
it was a
really
beautiful
dark
one too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was very nice. In fact, I remember that was my mount of choice for quite a while on my main character.
Yeah, that was a fun area. Honestly, Mirkwood was kind of fun to run through, and luckily I did it with my Ken. So,
except, dear SSG, please fix the bugged roving threat location at the waterfall that bugs out still. Please.
That'd be really nice. It's really annoying when that's the last one you need.
I had a Twitter conversation about this earlier this week, or maybe it was on Discord. But anyway, I had a conversation about this earlier this week with somebody about they thought they were done, but they couldn't find the last one because, yes, reasons.
Because it was bugged out. Oh, yes, that. Let's then head into Bulwer, where we had update 31 beta number 3. So this is the final beta before the release of Gundabad. And in there, armor stats should now look more consistent between their tooltips and their socketing interface. I guess that's a good one to have right before the end. Baller skills, Helm Crusher and Mighty Upheaval now count for completing the deed Crowd Control. The Minstrel skill, Call to Greatness, now grants brawlers power and metal regeneration. All right. Apprentice cooks can now prepare a number of different fish into fish fillets, which are used in Gundabad crafting. So,
pan-seared?
Part of this sounds awesome, and part of this, I'm not so sure. If you have to constantly be fishing to cook anything for Gundabad, that might get annoying pretty fast.
Yes. Retired Amphalos Starlit Crystals will now disenchant into enchantment runes that are useful for characters level 86 through 130, socket min 130 to socket max 430. So that's yeah.
Well, because right now it only gives you up to like level 86. And those were things that were in-game stuff. So thank you for fixing that.
Yes. Now, of course, that won't be coming out till next week. Remember, I'm reading what's on Bullroarer, so yes,
I know.
We'll be happy when it gets to live, yes. With the release of Update 31, we are lowering the amount of allegiance points it takes to complete Mordor allegiances. This update will not affect any allegiances that is currently underway. This will only affect allegiances that have yet to be joined. And also in Legendary items, vendors no longer offer enchantment runes for embers. And this was set up as a test concept early in the development and was not intended to be live, but it was not removed before launch. So, sorry about that. And also, all IXP tokens now have minimum use levels commensurate with their IXP that they grant. This change is to make them play nicely with the upcoming reward tracks. And also increase the difficulty for enemies 131 plus. And hearing some of the conversations in there, is this going to be another Mordor when I walk into Gundabad?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because you remember what happened when we first got into Mordor and hit those 106 mobs.
I remember going, uh-oh.
Yeah,
I'm dying.
Yes. So be careful because it could be. It looks like they decided to tune up the landscape for this update.
Oh, goody. Just what we needed.
Yes. Oh, welcome, Terry. And as for Azanu Bizarre Muzbook, the rare Great Bat should no longer enter anti-exploit mode at certain locations in Azanu Bizarre.
That's good because he's hard enough to find.
And for levels 131 to 140, reduces mob damage about 33%. Reduce player weapons damage and mob health commensurately. All right, this is probably I think they had a second build during the beta, right? And which that relates to, because they first increased the damage way up for the mobs, and they said, "All right, know that that's too high." So then they must have. They said it was going to scale down a little bit for live, so we'll see what it's like when we hit live next week. For Monster Play, remove the rank requirements for free gear, or 30% defense mitts removed for free Audacity. Added an arena to the southwest corner of the Ettenmoors.
Oh.
What's that? Is that supposed to be for like one-on-one, maybe?
Maybe.
The southeast, is that where that, because they had the kind of a classic meeting place by the river, right? By the
southwest is
the Alliance.
Kind of by southwest is the Hobbit village.
Yeah. Oh, I thought.
Oh, you could have nommed the mayor.
But I'm guessing this is probably west of that. But the traditional place for 1v1s is like south middle, because it's like south of the Grimwood port.
All right, so we'll see. I'm sure that the PvPers are going to check that out to see what's going on there. But yeah, it sounds like it's a designated one-on-one place. War Leader Mobilize buffed to 55% from 35%.
That's Mobilize, Pine Leaf.
Oh, Mobilize? Okay.
Mobilize.
Oh.
Like mobilize your troops.
Oh, okay. So
it's just spelled weird.
Okay. Akuan's brand of the Tyrant has been changed to a 1 minute cooldown from 2 minutes, with 5 seconds of immunity from 10 seconds. It also no longer requires a rank from rank 15. Costs changed to 2,000, commendations from 5,000. And Lenathal's insignia of the Captain General changed to a 10-minute cooldown from 2 minutes and a 5 seconds of immunity from 10 seconds. And all creep skills and corruptions reduced to less than rank 5, with the exception of cosmetic appearances.
Now that's cool. That should be really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the rank requirement removed for free gear. Yeah, I don't care because Warg, I don't have any gear. Yes. My gear is claws and teeth, and it comes with me.
Yes.
It's not exactly upgradable.
Yes.
Yeah, but you could get a little saddle or a little like banner. You could have a little skull on you running around.
I totally want to be one of those Wargs. I need a skill. They need to give Wargs a skill, Goblin Rider, so we can summon a goblin to shoot stuff from our backs. That would be really cool.
You could be a captain equivalent and the goblin is their herald. That would be awesome.
And fix an issue where free people could attain monster potions and use them outside the Entermoors.
Weird.
Yeah, that definitely sounds weird.
I got one, though, on my captain. That was a joke. One of my kinmates gave me, I think, one of the bottles of worm's blood or something like that. I better check. I might have just freed up an inventory space. Glorious.
And Cordovan announced some of the upcoming plans. We wanted to update everyone as to our release plans for a couple of features that they're working on. The Legendary Item Rewards track and the 2 3-player instances in Fate of Gundabad called Den of Pulklak and the Assault on Thurstruck will be released after the release of Update 31. They're currently expecting the release of the instances on 31.0.1 and expecting the rewards track to come on Update 30.1.
What was that again?
I wasn't aware of any Klingons in Middle Earth.
What was
By
what?
the way, it took me a minute to get here, but I'm here.
Hello.
You had a question, Calabathian?
No, I just was saying hello. I'm actually here, but I was actually asking what was that word again? Because it was I don't know if you coughed, sneezed, choked.
He's trying to speak either Dwarvish or Black speech or some weird combination of both. It is the word in that note.
Yeah, I guess you're talking about the pen of Pukhlak.
Yes. Though I don't know why anyone would want to lock up their poop. Oh, you said pook. Okay. Pook with a K. Okay. My bad.
Actually,
Anyway,
I think it's supposed to be a little bit more of a glottal.
Yeah.
Because it's a GH.
Yeah. Right. I can't do them very well.
You gotta build up the phlegm.
We'll need someone who speaks a language that actually has those consonants still in order to be able to get them correctly. All right, if you speak Flemish, yes. All
Is
right.
it spelled with an F or with a PH?
What for
I might get a really bad cold or bronchitis. I speak Flemish.
Never mind.
Oh, that's what you meant by F or PH. All right. Now.
Yes. Every time I get a cold, I tend to speak Flemish with a PH.
Okay.
And there's a G in there somewhere too.
Right. Now, Update 31.0.1 is expected a week or two after the release of Gundabad. It's probably the week after that on that. And 31.1, I think they're shooting for something like December 15th or something like that. I don't think there's an official date yet on that. But my guess is probably going to be middle of December because usually the .1s come a month after the release they're related to. So we'll see how that goes. And that concludes that announcement. Also, there's been announced that Rowan Raspberry will be going away pretty soon. Rowan will be available until 3 a.m. Eastern on November 15th. And he's saying that, yes, he triple-checked the date this time because there was a mess-up with the curator who left the date earlier than announced. So he says, yes, he double-checked. She's leaving on November 15th at 3 a.m. So therefore, we'll be through the 14th. And Myrtle Mint arrives with the release of Update 31, which is expected to be November 10th. So there should be some overlap during which both will be available. And then finally, let's have a look at the LOTRO Beacon. This is LOTRO Beacon number 225. For our community spotlights, Extra Life Gaming Day is being held today, so they are still going on with that because I believe it's running from noon to midnight. So we have about a little more than 3 hours left on that. And Winterfest 2021 is taking place on December 10th, with band signups and starting this weekend. So you can read more about that on the Cricala Music website. And Louis7 has legendary item tips, and you could watch his video on his YouTube channel. As for our concert calendar, Bevo presents a pajama party. Read more about that or music and prizes for the event, which was today, but perhaps they'll have information on what they did. And Ponton presents classical and film music, and that was also today. And you can read about that concert on their site and check to see if they have any streams available that you could watch it on. So here's our weekly comment. What kind of mount would you like to see in game, Sanswinda?
Mumax! Please, 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 can we have a Mumax mount? Please.
At least give us Mumak rides up in Forakel.
Yes, that would be an okay substitute. At least for a while.
So Mammoth rides up in Forakel as a substitute until we get to Harad. Then you want Mumax! Anyone else have
like
any?
Skis or skates would be fun too.
War pigs.
Oh, okay, when you say war pigs, you don't mean, you mean actual war steed quality.
I mean, actual war steed boars.
War boars.
War boars.
Boars with frickin' laser beams.
Oh,
I don't think they'll give you the laser beams.
Dang it.
Very large chickens. It's the closest we can get to velociraptors.
Well, actually, I think the closer you can get to velociraptors will more likely be ostriches. But we
I've
have to
seen
get
an ostrich in game.
Well, that's why I was about to say. Yeah, we'll have to get to Harad first. Maybe they'll have some down there.
Well, Sam
Maybe
Birkin
really
said
big tiger ones too.
Sam Birkin said in the comments horn mounts, which I'm trying to figure out how that would work. Although Lonori said give us an it to carry us around.
Sure, I'll buy it.
Right.
You know, my Hobbit really thinks you should be able to ride some of the pet lore master pets, or like the pet dogs that are running around. Something like that would be kind of cool.
Like a bear.
Need war,
like a bear,
war
or like one of the big German Shepherd dogs that can follow you around. That'd be cool.
war horses that are ents. They would have bash and like they could trample and
No. War horses that are Mumax. War Mumax. War steeds at level 5 Mumax. At
least war Mumax are plausible. I mean, from that point of view,
trample on that.
Plausible. oh, Pineleaf doesn't think that the Ents will go to war?
They will have to be riled in order to go to war. I don't think that they will go all the way to Minas Tirith. First of all, there will be a little bit of a lore issue there. No, of course, Mumax fighting on the side of the Free Peoples during the Battle of Pelennor, I guess, would also be a little strange.
Oh, it would be really cool if Bjornings could carry people. That is an excellent point, Lenore.
It would be cool, but can you actually see Bjorn or any of his Bjornings actually stooping to becoming a mount of some kind? And would that mean that we would have the first PC player character mounts?
Well, here's the thing, though. You can mount them, but you have no idea where you're going to go because you lose control when you mount. It would be epic. And also, yes, dogs that are big, like Farmer Maggot's dogs, as Sam was pointing out. Those are the type of big dogs I'm thinking.
So you could have a Bjorning rodeo.
It'd be like a Bjorning rodeo. And you just go wherever the Bjorning was headed, but they'd have to, like, actually say, like, yes, this person could come along for a ride and, like, toss you up on their shoulder or something.
I mean,
Could you imagine how confusing that's going to be with our actual OP Furball characters? Someone's just like, hey, can I ride you? And the OP Furball character's like, why, yes, you can. And suddenly you're riding your teammate. And it gets crazy. Cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria.
I mean,
The Bjornies should get extra hit points for having somebody strapped on the back of them.
kind of like a shield. The ability
you gotta
to
sell it the right way,
transfer
though.
damage to the rider.
You've got to sell it the right way, though. I think the way that you could sell it is that the Bjorning would allow you to ride if, specifically, the saddle was a dwarf tossing catapult. So then that way there is a price to pay, or they can at least laugh a little bit when they see the dwarf launch. And there's some satisfaction for, okay, you rode on my back, but I just saw you fly 30 feet through the air.
Uh-huh.
The Siege of Gondaman.
If we had 100 dwarf catapults.
Literally dwarf catapult. But, yeah. They're not dwarf made. They're dwarf catapults.
Oh, that would be awesome. Sorry.
Let's head into our fan site news, where last week we found the Kansas of Mordor,
Uh-oh.
and the Anduni Ensemble presents a Halloween concert that you could watch on their YouTube channel. The Hobbitry in Arms presents the Hobbitry Harvest Picnic Show. You can watch that on their YouTube channel. Darren Loremaster presents poetry, and that was something we mentioned last week on Minas Ithil West Tower of the Moon. LOTRO Stream is your first stop to find LOTRO on Twitch. This week, Heart of a Hobbit heads into a haunted burrow, winning adventures in Duneland, and
Wait. Duneland?
That's what it says in here. It probably meant Dunland.
I'm staring at it. I know it's Dunland, but Duneland opens up a whole lot of other possibilities.
We have sandworm routes.
Yes, we would have sandworm mounts.
That's when we get in the desert areas of Mordor.
Yes.
And there's spice. Hobbits are all about the spice now.
Yes. And Druid's Fire Adventures in Mordor. Also on Twitch, Entenberg gets started. The Green-Eyed Gamer gets into Minas Morgul, and Trash Kitty 6 Adventures with Kinmates. And over on YouTube, Gamelio Dan finds Dread in the Fallen City. Carrick Avalron Gaming continues working towards the Shire Brewmaster hidden title, and Eric Desad runs the further adventures of Bilbo Baggins.
I just got that title on my Hobbit.
You got the title, The Further Adventures of Bilbo Baggins?
No, the Shire Brewmaster.
I was about to say, and also, what else are you going to find other than Dread in a place called the Fallen City? It's not unicorns and rainbows. Gamelio Dan finds sparkles in the Fallen City.
The city glows.
But it's not like a happy, sparkly glow. It's not a glittery fairy glow.
This is true. It is not. But it does glow.
Yeah.
It is a migraine-inducing glow.
Lower.
For our screenshot of the week, Origami Get Scared. In this week's screenshot of the week, you can email your screenshot for consideration by sending it to lotro@sandstonegames.com.
Wait a minute. What is that?
I don't know, but my captain should be able to make that a herald.
That should be our new mount.
It looks like something from the Nightmare Before Christmas or something.
Somebody's
I
property
know,
guard,
honestly,
maybe?
what?
That's the decorative gourds from Halloween. It's part of a It's part of a decoration for your house.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I'm like, why did I don't
See,
don't
they're
remember
actually.
coming across this?
They're actually over there behind the rook or raven. If you click on that, if you have the decorative gourds housing decoration, if you click on that, that thing will go floating all around the area. It'll go through walls and startle you suddenly in your house.
That's really cool.
It is. Is
And-
that a? Hang
Yeah.
on, I gotta get a better look at this. Okay, because I'm like, what is this coming off of its side? I thought it was a pigtail. I'm like, it's a pumpkin-headed ghost spirit with pigtails. What? It's not though. It's something else. But it confused me a lot because that's why I had to like get a closer look at it and make it bigger, because otherwise I was going to be highly confused. I'm like, first poodle wargs, now pumpkin ghosts with pigtails. It's a madhouse. Okay, continue.
That concludes our beacon for this week. So let's head into our store sales. Terry Adwin, what's on sale this week?
Nothing really good.
Nothing really good.
Nothing really good. Let's see.
Continue.
The coupon this week is Universal Ingredient Pack times 10 with the coupon code INGPACKS, INGPACKS. And then 20% off stat tomes, regen food, run speed boosts, and attack damage boosts, blah. Now through November 11th. Carry on.
Carry on then. Let's head into our main theme for today, which is a review of the quest pack for Update 30, The Blood of Azog. We're going to go through each of the components of them and give our opinions on them. And we'll begin with the quest itself, which
we begin with a spoiler warning. Come on.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, this will include lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of spoilers, of course. So if you would like to avoid any spoilers, you should...
Actually, I probably should excuse myself because I'm just now working on finishing it.
Well, you're not done?
No.
Oops. But the new one comes out next week, so we kind of really have to do the review.
I know. Just saying.
Yeah, there is that. So yes, spoilers alert then, that we are going to be discussing matters that are deep into the Blood of Azog storyline, which continues the legacy of Durin storyline. Well, this isn't completely within the storyline. It talks more about history, but we'll go with that because it starts with the character with, of course, Durin wants reinforcements because we know that there is this big war coming on that he needs to get into Gundabad. So Durin asks us to head over to Erebor to inform his fathers that they're going to need some reinforcements if they are going to properly take over Gundabad, because we all know what happens if you go into a major underground city with not enough troops.
You're eaten by a Balrog.
You get eaten by a Balrog. That is exactly what happens. And considering that the last time
in Moria, Balrog bites you.
Yes. Yes. And some of them got killed by the Balrog, some probably got killed by the Watcher, and others wound up getting killed by Mazog, who, of course, is the brother of the person that we're fighting here. So you can just imagine all the nasty things that are happening all over the place. As such, when we talk to King Thorin, he tells us that perhaps we need to understand the history of the last war against the orcs. We're not talking about the thing with the Iron Garrison or the thing with the previous expedition into Mordor, but instead we're talking about the war at Azanu Bazaar, where all the dwarves came together and invaded there in order to kill the leader of the dwarves, in order to kill Azog. So we were going to go there and do it. So we're going to give this little history lesson. So he sends us to the room where they hold the missions for this particular chapter in there, and we speak to the bartender there whose father participated in the war and wrote the story of what happened there. And she thus sends us to his book, and we start reading the book, and the book essentially teleports us into the past, and we go in there as if we were that father, as if we were their father. And so everybody is addressing us as if we were the writer of this history.
I just kind of like the idea of them being, well, I think you need to understand the history of this, and you're just sitting there like, no, I really don't, and you have to do it anyway.
That was me. That was me. I'm like, no, really, no.
Yeah. Well, the good news
Give me the
is
Cliff Notes version.
the good news is that this particular side quest is technically optional, meaning that it's at level caps, so you don't need it in order to level, and you don't need it in order to get into Gundabad, because Gundabad's prerequisite is finishing up the previous chapter where the Lord of Gundabad, when Primo ices up the entrance to Gundabad. So you really don't have to do this. So it's sort of a side thing that they had in order to just have as an opportunity to time travel a little bit and to go into the past. And Terry Adwin's probably not going to do this one too much often in the future. No, actually, sometimes he gets into a completionist mood.
Ever again.
Okay. All right. That sort of answers that question. Somehow, this one even saps the completionist in Terry.
It really did. Well,
so we go in. Yeah.
You know,
so
I didn't finish it.
Well, you finished the historical part of it. Well, okay. There were a couple of quests in there, but those are minor side quests. So we headed into there, and we then listen to the rousing speeches and all this stuff as we are getting ready in order to start the battle, because we have just arrived, and of course we start to meet the various dwarves that are in the area, and we have an opportunity now to actually meet all 7 of the clans, because they're all there. Anyone remember all 7 of the clan names?
No.
Let's see. I think there was Dumbledore. Let's see, Voldemort. Oh wait, no. I'm sorry.
Happy, Doc, Sleepy, Grumpy.
There's always one in the group, isn't there?
I think there's like 6 in the group right now.
Yes.
Because no one can ever remember that 7th dwarf.
Yes. So we head into there, and we go in. So we head into there, see the various brethren of the dwarves into there, and we try to support the war efforts by doing, of course, inevitably quests all over the place. And it goes through the story of what happened in the dwarf war. Of course, they want revenge for what happened in the matter of Oh boy. Okay. Oh, wait. Oh, Nar. That's right. Nar. It's the matter of Nar. What happened with him where he went to Azanubazar with, let's see, I'm trying to remember the names of all these dwarves. That's why I always had trouble with doing it. It would have been Thrain's father, I think, right? So they went together to the doors of Moria, hoping to see what's in it, and Ozok.
Is Thrain's father Thror? Thror?
Thror, yeah, Thror. That's what it sounds. Yeah, Thror. So they go into there with Thror. Thank you. Into the door, and what the orcs do essentially is they catch Thror, they write Ozog on his forehead, and toss him out the door. Dead, of course.
Yeah, and they don't write Ozog on his forehead with a black magic marker because they don't have magic markers back there.
Of course not. No. Of course, they do it in the vilest way possible. And
oh my goodness, do you mean they bedazzled him? Sorry.
I would say maybe there is glitter.
The second most heinous way possible.
City.
Yes. So they head. So what happens? Of course, Nar goes back to their home of exile. He reports to Thrain, who decides that there can only be one response to this, and that is war. So that's what instigated this entire mess, of course, and that's why we got all these dwarves in there. And at various points, they start maneuvering the various dwarf positions into there. So we, of course, eventually reach all the way up to the gates of Moria. And into there, have to create as much trouble as we have until finally we can go and attack Ozog. Don't worry, there are about several days worth of questing in between these 2 points I'm talking about. And once we get there, we finally, of course, meet Ozog and inevitably kill him. And Nar comes and stuffs the coin purse that they threw to him and back into the mouth of Ozog after they're finished with it, just to finish the cycle. And afterwards, of course, we have the funeral and all that stuff. And this is all to give us an idea that we have this big, intense war into there. And of course, you do meet Thorin Oakenshield when he... Oh, that's right. Terry Adwin has something to say about the Oakenshield.
Yeah, those trees aren't oak trees.
Yes. Yeah, there's... Yeah, that's the trouble in there is... All right.
So you actually get to meet Thorin?
Oh, yeah.
Squeak!
Actually, that's about as far as I've got on the epic side of things. I just got to see Thorin become Oakenshield.
So you're not too far from the end.
Yeah, not doing too badly. Still have like some more champions and roving threats, whatever they call them, trophy monsters that we have to get. But
yeah, all those things you have to get in there. And anyway, we see the creation of Thorin Oakenshield, and we see lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of dwarves die. But they are victorious in the end. And of course,
we wouldn't have all the stuff we do in the game now. So, I mean, technically, spoiler alert, but on the other hand, no spoiler alert. I mean, if the good guys don't win, what we're doing actually before this comes along in the present is kind of like really doesn't exist. And then we get into a lot of theoretical and philosophical stuff that, anyway.
And we don't have DeLoreans.
Yes.
There we go, another mount. I want the DeLorean.
You got the idea. We have that battle in there, and of course the Longbeards want to go in. We are here at the door of Moria. We are going to go in and take over Moria, and the other 7 houses look at them and says, "No, we're not. We're going home."
And you know why? Because they then go, "No, we're not." It's like, "Yes, we are." It's like, "No, we're not." Why? Oh, you're right. We're all going home. The only reason I believe, historically speaking, in the lore that the dwarves don't actually go in like, "Roar! Let's get Moria back," is because Balrog during Bane is still down there somewhere.
I think that's
Ain't
part
nobody
of
wanna
it.
tangle with him.
It's also, I think that's part of it, and also another part is that the other 6 tribes, they all just went through all this time, all this hardship for this war in there, and they are war weary. They have just lost a large amount of their population. They are war weary, and they know that even if there is no Balrog there, it is going to be a tough time trying to take that place, and it's not their home, it's the Longbeard home. So why? It's one thing getting revenge for a vile insult to all dwarves. It's another thing trying to take back a home for someone else. At least that's their opinion on the matter. And as a result of this is one of the things that feeds into the present item, and that is, of course, that one of the things that they're trying to do in the war in Gundabad is to see if they can get the cooperation of some of the other groups of dwarves. Now, yes, we do already have the Jelruka involved, and we have the Stout Axe branch of one of the other groups in there. So we essentially have 2.5 groups of dwarves that are currently working in there, and Durin is also trying to invite some additional groups into there because it is time that we come together and try to take Gundabad, and we'll see how long this lasts. Because as Terry often says, how to create a dwarven war in 12 easy steps. We'll see if that happens, since I guess next week we'll begin to understand the question on whether or not there is actually a dwarven war or not. I suspect not, because a dwarven war, I think, will take a huge, huge amount of time in order to do. And I heard that they're going away from the dwarves, I think, in the next update, in update 32.
Maybe that'll be because the dwarves are all fighting each other and can't be bothered to have us hanging around.
Well, okay, there is that particular. I was hoping it would be a brighter scenario than that.
I hope so too.
Anyway, because they all disbanded there, that ends the storyline that we have into there. So we return back to our present time. And at this point, we go with Thorn to speak with the daughter of the writer of the book, because apparently there was one little detail that she left out in this entire thing, and that was, of course, that her father is still very much alive. So we do speak with him, the person that we were posing as for most of this update. And he agrees that he will also go with the reinforcements in order to help with Gundabad. Then when we returned, it is then that Durin says that I think he says that they will go and enter into Gundabad. I think he says dawn in 1 week's time or something like that. And of course, that dawn in 1 week's time, I presume, is when the story is going to pick up with the next update. And that's pretty much the storyline. So anybody have anything to add? It's quiet. All right, so let's then review ours. What do we say? What do you think about the quests that we have within this particular update? So we have in here essentially quests killing orcs, killing goblins, killing trolls, killing Uber.
Let's say, unless there's trolls, Terry's not giving it an A.
Killing hobgoblins.
You have to kill your way through bottlenecks continually because of the way the zone is set up.
Yeah.
And as a hunter, I will tell you that part of the reason why I hadn't finished it was I got very frustrated because I had to have somebody else with me to help tank because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to get through it. And I don't know, maybe now that the ally system has boosted things, at least for now, at the end game, I might have been able to finish it up by myself. But that was the whole reason why I'm like, enough. I'm done.
Yeah.
I just walked away.
I thought it was really funny when Cordovan was taking his champion through Cloudy Head Pass.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he says, maybe it should be a signal to him that maybe he should talk to the devs. Maybe you can tone down Cloudy Head Pass a little bit. I did not do Cloudy Head Pass on my main character when I was doing it solo because I heard just so many rumors about what Cloudy Head Pass was right. I just decided, no, I'm not bothering.
And it was after that, and it was before they, quote, toned it down a little bit, unquote. And it was the captain and I'm trying to remember, I think there was a champ that was up there trying to get out without dying. And yeah, I mean, we ended up kind of trading off trying to get that one quest that first sends you up there. You have to gather something in barrels, maybe something. I don't remember now. I've tried to block it out. It's been a while.
I can imagine.
We went by it today, but they do at least have a path where if you stay over towards the mountain, you only have to kill about 4 or 5 things to get up to do the second batch of scouting. You can kind of avoid the barricades, but before it was just too much.
Yes, there are lots and lots of quests that send you all over the place in there. Like the one where you had to go and get the champion wargs, which... Oh, the things that they have you doing it. First, you go into there for this stage. You think, okay, now I can go after the warg chat. No, now you need to do this. Now you need to do this. Now you need to do this. Now, guess what?
I'm going to reiterate this. We have warg champions, but we can't have no hobbit champions. There is something distinctly wrong with this.
Well, that's... I guess you got a point there. Anyway, so the quests are mainly circling around lots of kill ones. There is a quest to resolve why something where you're trying to figure out why something disappeared, for example, and all sorts of things like that. So typical type of questing, but many of them wind up sending you into areas that are very, very narrow because a lot of this war is being held on mountain passes, pretty much. And mountain roads don't exactly give you a great deal of room for maneuverability. And that, I guess, gets us into the landscape that we have into there. This is very, very much a wintry type scene. We're up in the mountains, probably at some cold time of the year.
Now, for a second, Pineleaf, I thought you were going to say, this is a very great place to war steed.
No!
Every place is a great great place to war steed. What are you saying?
I mean, I was going to help finally fill it in, but then he finished what he was actually thinking. But no, I ended up war steeding with sacrifice on through some of the bottlenecks, and I found it worked actually fairly well some of the times. But go ahead and continue, Pineleaf. The landscape
Right.
wasn't really the most conducive to war steeding.
No,
But it was
yeah,
fun.
because it had essentially you have these very few places in which you could really go because the terrain on off the roads is very, very rough because you got all this mountainous territory. If you are up on the high ground, you can get down, probably crunching an ankle or two as you go down on there, and getting back up afterwards is, well, I was going to say an uphill climb, but you probably can't even get up there in the first place. So perhaps that would be an unkind way to put it. So you got these roads, but many of these roads are, of course, controlled by enemy mobs. So especially in the more eastern side of everything. So it's a rough landscape to be on. Now you do have the points on there where you're on the mirror because it's very cold there. So parts of the mirror are frozen over. So there's some parts where you're on there. I'm sure we had some comments on how safe it was to go onto the ice. And of course, everything goes all the way up. So you got the mirror there. You've got all this landscape that you have near Khazad-dûm on the eastern side of it, except winter, turned into a winter wonderland, so to speak. As for mobs, I think I mentioned what kind of mobs we had earlier on there. We had wargs, orc kind. We did have some bears in there, so a little bit of wildlife in there, but I would say the majority of it were, of course, enemy soldiers doing all sorts of things to us, like throwing rocks at us, throwing spears at us, hitting us with swords, hitting with everything. Usual type things. Very much what you would expect to find when you're fighting a war against orcs. Anyone remember any unique mobs in the area?
That pack of goblins that we couldn't find the one day and then we couldn't lose the next time.
Yeah. Yes, there is that really...
Oh, like the courier?
Really
Yes,
annoying
yes.
courier, yes. Yeah, that courier, and I think he had at least one escort to him, maybe two of them. And yes, the first time we wanted him and were trying to be on the quest, it took us forever to find him. But once you kill him, you can be guaranteed that he must have put a tracking device on him the first time we killed him, because he seems to home in on us pretty quickly after that.
Way to hold a grudge.
Yeah, hey, he was a grudge, all right. He was really annoying.
Meanwhile, for the name of all things holy, don't have pop-up landscape quests that we have to try to accept while we're in the middle of fighting a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't get something accepted in time, and we had to go back the next day and go fighting our way through the gate to the right, up the hill, and kill the same guy again so that I would get credit for it, because I'd already killed him once, but I didn't get that stupid landscape quest. And I don't like to have the auto ones turned on, because sometimes I miss a quest. I don't realize that I have it until later.
Yeah, that gets really, really annoying when you have a landscape quest that you get when you're in the middle of fighting the mobs that are the target of the quest. I think warbands sometimes have that happen where you're trying, okay, to have a moment to accept the quest. What do you mean he died 3 seconds before I hit the accept button?
Yeah, we
Right,
had
or
that
you're
happen a
already
lot on
fighting
Spirit
him
ones,
and it
too.
comes up. You're like trying to accept it and you die.
Great!
Right, that's the other headache. And that's pretty much what we've got for this update. Because there wasn't anything really unusual here since we're back in history and all of that. Anyone else have anything to add relating to this quest pack?
No.
All right. So how about let's give us a rating to this? So that's Winda. How would you rate this quest pack?
It was pretty fun in a group. The bottlenecks were not something that I wanted to tackle solo, and I died trying to run through without fighting a few times.
Yep.
I died trying to fight my way through solo too. So maybe, I don't know though. I got to become a dwarf. That was pretty awesome. And I got to try to confuse everybody. So
that's right, the end quest reward.
so maybe it was fun. Mostly. I mean, except for trying to get through the one area that I'm thinking of. I'm giving it an A-. That was pretty fun. I liked it.
All right, and Terry Adwin.
I'm actually going to give this a C because honestly, there was nothing about this quest pack that grabbed me. And it took us forever to get through it because I wasn't super motivated to stay awake after work so I could play LOTRO because it's just smart dwarf stuff. Which is weird because it's not the first time that we've done this back in time thing, but the Second Age stuff I really enjoyed, and this Dwarf War stuff I really didn't enjoy. And
this is really weird considering that you like dwarves a lot more than you like elves.
Well, and it's true. I like dwarves, and I like hearing LOTRO history. Typically, it's just something about this update I just did not enjoy it at all. And the fact that the landscape was a slog, and you're yet again doing things that everybody could be doing for themselves. And I guess it's because I never really got what the point of this storytelling was. Okay, he wanted us to recruit this dwarf for the Dwarf War. Great. Why do we need to know this history? Is this history really relevant to why the dwarf is coming? No, it's really not.
Could we do a 10-minute session play in order to do this?
It was like this meeting could have been an email. That's this entire quest chain could have been like a 2-page story, and yeah.
Read Appendix A.
And unfortunately, there's not a too long didn't read option for it either, other than just don't do it. The fact that you can turn it into a dwarf as one of your quest rewards is kind of neat, except for the fact that it's yet another quest reward that Terry is really never going to use. I mean, she used it the once just to be cute, but yeah, it's never going to happen. It's going to sit in her inventory, taking up space. The portrait frame was kind of cool for doing the missions. We didn't really talk about missions. Missions for this update were not awful, but they also weren't great. It's good to have more missions you can mix and match, though, since you've got a weekly total of 45 you can do for if you're doing mission thingies, which I haven't been doing mission thingies, and I need to go back and do mission thingies because I'm still missing 2 essences. Maybe I'll just wait since that pocket's going to be outdated in about 4 days.
Yes. Well, there is that. Right. Krister, how would you rate it?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Sans there, kind of a B plus A minus. I had the luxury, I think, and I really do think it's a luxury of being able to do the landscape and the majority of everything in a group. And so at that point, you the density and frequency of the mobs don't really matter that much, just because you're in this gigantic killing maelstrom. So you don't have to worry about it too much. But I could easily see where, if you're out there solo and you're not a tank and you're not a heavy armor wearer, where it could get just overwhelming, And but other than that, what I always get frustrated with is when I think it's all over and it's not, So, but but this was a solid one. I'm kind of interested to see, of course, like you said, the focus is going off the dwarves now. I'm really kind of interested to see where we're going now, where we're going next.
Rune, I want to go to Rune so bad.
Do you think that's where we're going, Terry?
Oh, they have hinted a lot that there's stuff going on there, but I don't know if that's where they're going to send us necessarily. We actually, Pine and I talked about this a little bit last week when nobody else was here. I would love to go to Rune. Like, I've been dying to go to Rune since they started hinting at Rune. Back like in Mordor days, they were talking about stuff going on in Rune. So I've been wanting to go east for a long, long time. But then we also the Kansas and Mordor thing came about because Pineleaf mentioned Nirn, because there's actually more Mordor. We've only really explored like a quarter of Mordor, and we've been long enough out of Mordor. I could totally go, because Nirn is like the breadbasket of Mordor, which is it's the Kansas and Mordor. I still wouldn't eat anything that grows there, but I said that last week. Like,
eat the ancient
don't,
evil.
It's growing in ancient evil. It's still just don't eat it. But
Wait a second. This is where Twinkies come from?
It would be really interesting to see like how they handle that, because there's not really any other than bits and pieces of scraps of couple words here and there to tell you of what Tolkien's vision for those places were. So I think it would be really great and give them a fantastic opportunity to just play with. And I'd love to do more stuff with, like, okay, we've done elf stuff and we've done dwarf stuff. Let's get back into some stories with men and women. Yeah, I would love to go east.
What about what they started to set up with the second round of the wedding quests? Maybe we'll go south.
Oh, south, yeah. I could totally do south. Would be cool, either Harad or Umbar. I would love to go to Umbar and find out that I would love to go to Umbar and find out that Jajax has like taken over Umbar.
That would be awesome.
Okay, maybe Jajax took over Umbar and has Mumak mounts for all his friends.
He's the real heir of Castamere. It would be one big party.
It would be one big party. All right. Calabathian, I think you haven't had a chance to do it, right?
Yeah. But I'm going to give it a B+ simply because Thorin Oakenshield shows up.
Okay.
Next.
It's really not that exciting.
Yeah. Have you attempted
You don't understand my fangirling.
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. And trust me, it's not that exciting.
There weren't even oaks. I was kind of sad.
Yeah, those trees are not oaks.
They're pretty sad-looking oaks if they're oaks.
When you first said that, I had
I'll
this.
drop it down to a B because it's Oakenshield, but there are no oaks. What are you talking about?
We get there, and I looked at that tree, and the words that came out of my mouth in a really high-pitched yell were, "That's not an oak tree." And you can just hear Pine and Sands just dying on the other side of the it's just that was my first reaction. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me! Ah!
When you were saying that earlier, Terry, I had this vision of somebody standing by right next to you when you guys are seeing Thorin, and they're like, oh, Thorin Oakenshield, and you're like, it's more like particle board shield.
You watch him pick up that piece of wood, and I'm looking at the thing, like the area where we're in, and the tree that it supposedly came off of, and that's not an oak tree.
We need to find out what kind of tree it really was. Yeah. We need the truth. The truth of the oaken shield. It wasn't an oak. What was it? A
That's the other reason we got a C. That was not an oak tree.
Can't
He-
believe
he-
we're
he thought
canceling
it- he
Thorin
thought it
because the
sounded
shield
cooler.
wasn't right.
Yeah. We'll Guarendis. Let's go to Guarendis.
Well, evidently, I am very close to being done with it. I will say I've enjoyed the story thus far. What I love is the number of female dwarves that you see, including one that has a fantabulous beard that is called a king, but they use the pronoun she, which I was just thrilled with that one.
Yes.
But by the way, hey SSG, could we have that beard for our dwarves? That beard is awesome with the braids and the
Yeah, any of those cool beards for your actual
I
dwarf
would
that they see.
love to see that make a comeback in the beginning of the fourth age here for dwarves. Could we do that, please?
There's a really cool hat that you can wear that you can get from the missions too.
But I mean, I've already kind of lodged my difficulty with it is just I understand that it's supposed to be a war zone, but for the love of God, it feels like I have to be grouped to get through it. That's very frustrating. And Terry, when you were talking, I kind of I didn't want to jump in, but I would say I think part of my problem with burning out on it too was I just got done with the war area of the Three Peaks. And then I turn around and I have the same, if not harder to get through mobs in this area. And it just didn't flow very well. Not to mention, my main is an elf. I play a lot of hobbits. I've played humans. I don't have a ton of dwarves. I am really kind of tired of the dwarf stories. Sorry for all the dwarf fans out there. I run with a dwarf. Between the fatigue of having to deal with their stupid war in the first place, and then it's like, oh, now you want to tell me how they've always been like this. Great. So I will give it, I'm going to say, I'll be generous and give it a B-, because I do love the storytelling. It's very frustrating, like I said, though, as somebody who likes to be able to play solo, not really being able to.
You make a good point, actually, because this was supposed to be a break from the war, and that didn't happen.
It was definitely
like everybody else got to take a break, but we had to do another dwarf war. I'm really done with dwarves. I'm so done with it. I don't care what the next update is after this, as long as it's anything other than dwarves. Anything. I will take more bingo.
Whoa.
And considering
really
your
serious.
reaction whenever anyone suggests bingo, that's
I know. Well, actually, my problem with bingo is you can't do those instances in a group. They have to be solo.
yeah.
Otherwise, I would be all over doing more bingo. I would love to do bingo in a group. I think that would be hilarious.
So help me God, if Bingo decides to go to Kamaskala, he is on his own.
All right, and we'll come to my score. I am more in the C region because of the headaches. As you said, storytelling, great on the storytelling side, but just about everything that Guarendis said, except that I'm slightly less generous than her in the award. But yes, I'm going to give it a C because, it was pretty tiring in going through that entire thing. And of course, Cloudy Head Pass. I mean, I have a feeling you could have gotten a better mark if it weren't for places like Cloudy Head Pass, where it feels worse than the infinite mob generator that's known as the Goblin Town Gauntlet.
Oh, actually, I like that mission.
You like that mission? Well, I like it at lower
She's a
levels.
champion.
At higher levels, on the classes I tend to play, it's a slog. So
Actually, that's a mission I like to drag another person so that the other person can deal with the doors while I just kill everything.
Right. That's the thing. Oh yes, but the second person, someone who's dedicated to closing the doors, it works a lot better. So you have the.
I like to close the doors. Let Terry deal with all the mobs.
I haven't actually run missions since I upgraded my LI. I suppose I should do that before the update drops.
Yeah, that might be a good idea to test how things are at the moment.
I mean, I tested it with skirmishes, but missions is probably a more accurate test.
I'm assuming you've seen relatively noticeable improvements so far, though?
Oh, yeah.
Rip.
Oh, has anybody been in the Dimmerald Dale on just the regular, like, say, level 60 area since?
No, because I wouldn't go. We had one more quest to finish to go get that stupid necklace, and I refused to go do it.
But there's like ruins and stuff. You can go to a lot of these places. I haven't turned and went to the south and up to Amdan yet. But we discovered that all the stuff that they did for this is on the landscape. There's like ruins and old orc bridges and things like that.
I was just so done with dwarves. I didn't want to deal with it.
Well, see, I've been going through with on level characters, so.
Yes, I was into Dimmerald Dale today, but I was on a tight deadline, so I was just quickly getting over to Haldir, picking up the quest there, then going it.
Yeah, but if you go down the road from the Moria Gate to Lothlorien, you go through Kurazan, which is there's like a stable just right there in the pass. But you go through there, so there's to the left we went that way and went up, and then to the right you would go towards Amdan. So yeah. Because we was coming along, I'm like, this is new. There were ruins and structure like a gate right there on the road, just past the last orc camp, heading towards Lothlorien is where that gate is.
All right. And that finishes up our review of Update 30, The Blood of Azog. So let's head into our week in gaming. Calabathian, what were you up to?
Well, I was just now trying to figure out what kind of tree, and if it wasn't an oak tree that Thorin was using as his shield. Could have been a birch or a fir tree as well, apparently. Anyway,
but those are two very different types of trees.
It was not a fir tree.
Oak trees grow in the same zones, but
it wasn't birch because it didn't have birch wood.
No, it wasn't a fir tree either.
Balsa.
Yeah, because otherwise we would we would have pine shield. Thorin pine shield. But I know birch, fir, and oak trees all kind of grow in the same zones. So you can find an oak tree in the same area that you would find fir and birch trees. But where I got birch and fir trees is there's actually a quote from the Fellowship of the Ring that talks about. Let me see here. Where'd it go? Ah, yes. In places there were ruined works of stone beside the path and mounds of green topped with slender birches or fir trees sighing in the wind. So this is actually in the area where the battle took place much later on because the dwarves kind of cleared it off pretty badly at one point. But
Yes, they
it's
cut all
way
the
to
trees
Loch Lomond.
down so they could burn the bodies.
Yeah. So we know that there are fir trees and we know there are birches, and those are going to be in the same zones, give or take, that you do find oak trees. So the problem is not that there's just this weird tree growing there and there's no oak trees in the area. It's that there are oak trees in the area. That's not an oak tree. That is literally not an oak tree. So what tree is it? That's a good question. But yes. It should be maybe an oak tree, but if they didn't actually make an oak tree and it doesn't look like a fir tree or a birch tree, then it's probably a different other kind of tree that I have yet to find. But yes, those are three of the trees that should be in that area, generally speaking. But
actually, during the war, there could have been other types of trees in the area because birch and firs are probably trees that come in relatively early in a rebuilding. Because we're assuming that if the place was leveled, defoliated in order to make all those pyres.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if that was after the battle that we're talking about or if it was after a different battle before this one.
No, it was after this battle.
Okay.
Because at the end of it, before you go back to not being in the dwarf war zone anymore, you do the lighting of the pyres thing, so you see all the trees cut down.
All right, so we know that there's probably fir and birch and oak in the area. I'm not sure about what all the other trees are in the area before things get kind of shorn after the battle. But those three are definitely there. And it's a hardiness zone, therefore, between 3 and, I believe, 8. Because that is where you'll find oak trees, fir trees, and birch trees pretty much together. Because those are the zones where you'll find them all at the same time.
All right.
Anyway, weekend gaming. It's been mostly LOTRO. I've actually did do some ESO and everything else, but for LOTRO, so much festivaling when I could do it. And then I thought that I had 2 more days, that it was November 4th, that it would end. I don't know why. I just saw it wrong. And then I didn't. Sads. So I was going to come back in the next 2 days and finish up doing some stuff so that I could finish up getting what I wanted from the Harvest Math Festival. Alas, it did not work. But Morkindir's Rohan House, which technically is Celevorn's, but it's Morkindir's. It's a little less hospitable looking now because it's got some spooky stuff in it. And Yammer is a little bit displeased at the fact that there is a wicked cage hanging a little bit away from her at the top floor. Because I've got Gammer's bed and the little knick-knack thing and a coffee table. And so that was the only bed I had, and I put that up at the top. And then literally when you turn around, it's like on that next little level down when you're taking the stairs, there's not too many places for ceiling stuff. And I had a wicked cage, so I hung it there, and you can totally see this wicked cage, hanging here. And I'm like, Gammer's going to switch his hide. But, so yeah. Also, in girls, we all scampered around punching things gleefully. It was great. And also, the Friday after that, I guess, this yesterday kind of Friday, we also punched things with impunity on the academy. So much punching last week. Glorious punching and mugging. When you throw the mug, you become a mugger. It's a long distance fling, but you mug people. So yeah, Krister, how about you?
Well, Calabathian, I just want to say, first of all, with all the punching, have you ever thought about trying to use your words?
Have I ever tried what?
Trying to use your words first instead of your fists.
I do when I play my elf, but not when I'm a tiny, angry hobbit who may or may not be drunk.
You want to talk about short person's, what was that, short person's disorder, or having a chip on your shoulder. So me,
I'm a
so for
tiny little chihuahua. Angry issues.
So for me, LOTRO was just stairs, stairs, and more stairs. We've just basically been running stairs for the new LI materials, and just kind of in a holding pattern until the release of Gundabad on the server. But
you were literally trapped in an Escher painting.
I thought this has been the never-ending stare. Right here is this one, doing the stairs over and over again. But the one thing that's really come out of these runs now is now we're just running T3s with no issues whatsoever, and those used to be very challenging. So obviously the LI changes have really had an impact on that, and so. But running all this stuff over and over again, I just have to tell you guys something. Captains are amazing. I picked the right class to play. Oh my goodness. So even if you guys resist, you just have to understand. Captains are glorious. Okay, now we talked about a Hobbit champion. What about a Hobbit captain? Why not? Hobbits are bossy. I've been bossed around by a lot of Hobbits. That's what a captain is. Basically shouts and points their finger, and that's where you go.
Yeah, my captains are my cosmetic storage alts.
All right, and so now Pine Leaf, I got this wrong to my humiliation last time, but I think I'm 86% correct here in that the Winter Festival is now approaching. And the Winter Festival is my favorite festival. This is typically where I'll generate all my tokens literally for the year, because I'm just I got down to running this pattern in Winterfest so easily that I just like it. I just like the riding around. I like the map. So I'm very excited about that. And then
I'll let you have it now, Krister. I'll let you have it since my harvest math is now over.
Oh, come on! You got to try the Winterfest.
I've tried it.
You get to beat up trees. You can punch some trees.
Hey, Morkendeer was a level 5, and he went to Winterfest, and he got killed by Grims trying to do. You know what? So, no.
Okay, well, maybe the traumatic experiences might be a factor.
Well, I think going there at level 5 was a bit much.
It was there for the festival, and part of the festival you have to go kill Grims. And I thought surely they took that into consideration, for brand new, people, little level 5s, little level 10s and stuff going out there that, they're going to have to fight these Grims if they want the tokens. And surely they thought that and kept that in. Oh no, they
the
did
Grims are only level
10. That's awesome. All right, and so playing several games, watching science fiction stuff and fantasy stuff, you often see these crosses here. And this Book of Boba Fett is bothering me because I can't get Bingo Boffin out of my head when I hear Book of Boba Fett. I hear Book of Bingo Boffin, and then so I'm trying to figure out what would be the best combo here. Is it Bingo Fett, Boffin, Boba Boffin, Boba Bingo, Bingo Boffin, Bingo Boffin, Boba. Rubber baby buggy bobas.
We found a new tongue twister.
But I figured I'd
go bopping Boba Fett.
I'd share that bit of my insanity with you guys. So, Square, what have you been up to?
A lot of LOTRO. The Odd Couple, so that would be the Dwarf Champion, Nuanori, and my minstrel Ravisalk. They are working on their Lothlorien rep. They have made it out into the sunshine and are trying to run around in circles in Lothlorien for a bit. The Captain Hunter are finally pressing on in the past, as I've mentioned multiple times here, and I did get to see Thorin become Oakenshield. I'll be so glad to be done. Unfortunately, then Wednesday, Wednesday, I have to deal with more dwarves. I will say that I caught Scenario's preview stream for the Gundabad, the newer expansion, and there's some really cool areas. So that part of it, I am kind of looking forward just to seeing the new scenery, but I'm so done with dwarves. On girls, I pulled out a storage minstrel instead of a storage captain. A storage minstrel to help heal baby brawlers. That's because my hobbit girl is punching at level 23. She actually even helped Lalia, although she did fish slap her as she ran off to town. And in ESO, I am at 879 on my champion points, mostly thanks to doing Master Writs during the Witches Festival. I did manage to get the title witch and a really cool hat, so I'm very happy about that. That's mostly. I did the festival, and I just did writs and some of the delves, just enough plunder skulls to get the motifs I needed. Sans, what have you been up to?
Well, I also ran around punching things with the girls. And I was very healthy. Thank you very much to a certain
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then Knuckle Sandwich made it to the field trip just in time to kill goblins and spiders.
That's an awesome name, by the way. That's awesome.
Such a good name.
Yes. I was very happy to be home in time to jump on, and then to realize that I had actually gotten her to a point where she could almost jump in. That was pretty awesome. And yes, Nickel Sandwich. It was fun. And then I gave my nephew a brief introduction to Elias and a short tour of Rohan after his character suddenly became level 130 as a side effect of getting a Thunderboar and some other cool stuff. He is enjoying riding his Warsteed almost as much as I enjoy Warsteeding, and that has been a lot of fun.
Must run in the family.
Yes, but he says the most fun thing about Warsteeding is drift, whereas I find the speed more entertaining. But, it's pretty cool. And he was definitely having fun learning to take targets down from its back at level 130. So, that was pretty cool. And I ran some flashpoints in SWTOR with Nitesh and his friend Inji, and it was a lot of fun. Also, I like jumping at things with dual lightsabers I've discovered. And I started my final round of clothing research in ESO finally. I will be done when these 3 items are finished being researched. So, that was pretty cool.
Are you finally going to learn how to make pants?
I'm finally going to learn how to make really, really, really good pants, Krista.
Well, don't mention anything about that in the other game, LOTRO, because every ranger in the game will be after you to make them pants that they will then just give away to adventurers.
So, Tuesday gaming this week did not happen because it was beer club week, and I spent my Tuesday drinking and then walking home, which I've been paying for the next couple of days. But I made up for it by running with the academy to finish out some Shire questing. I did also play with the girls this week, which was fun because I haven't done girls in a long time. But in a weird reversal, I was not the tallest person in the group. That was Square.
And I was a dwarf.
And she was a dwarf, but she was still the tallest person in the group because she's taller than the hobbits. Yeah, typically it's Terry's the tall one because Sans and Pineleaf are both hobbits, so she's like running around with a pair of ankle biters. And yes, Chris, to answer your question, I talked about it last week because I finally, and nobody was here other than Pineleaf, but finally did the thing with Terry's LI, and I swapped it all out and did all the upgrades and blah blah. And I promptly ran a skirmish to see, because that's the Pine Leaf method of testing how buff your character is after you swap out your gear, is you run a skirmish. And so I ran Strike Against Stand and Glore, which is actually my favorite skirmish. And I, with the encounters and the counterattacks, I cleared it in just over 5 minutes.
Wow.
My record for that skirmish, by the way, is just over 3 minutes. But that was skipping encounters and counterattacks. You've got to do the first counterattack, but then you can skip all of the other ones. And so if you just run through, you can actually clear it fairly quickly. But I haven't been able to do that in a really long time because they played with difficulty and they played with DPS and stuff like that. So it's been a really long time since I've felt quite that buff in a skirmish. And so, yeah, I will definitely try and make it into a mission or two this week, and because that difficulty is a little bit different than skirmishes. So we'll see how that goes, and if I'm still feeling super confident for when the update drops on Wednesday. In Star Wars, I played with Calabathian, and so we're playing her sniper, my bounty hunter. We finished up on Voss. That was entertaining. It's always hilarious to listen to her go through the stuff with the Imperial agent, because I know what's coming, and I haven't spoiled the story for her, so I'm trying really hard not to say anything about what's coming. And so now they're on. Yeah, that happens a lot, and it's really funny. So we started on Corellia, so we got through the first area and the second area, so we're headed into we've got 3 more zones to clear on Corellia, and then finishing up the class quest. So hopefully we'll be able to finish it up either this weekend or early part of this week in time for next week's show. And then in ESO, I got tired of logging in, because ever since the computer died, then was fixed and came back, I keep getting these error messages about my add-ons in ESO, like they're out of date. And I use Minion, which is similar to LOTRO Companion, how it used to be, as far as making sure that all of your plugins have all of the stuff that they need. So finally I got tired of it, and I deleted everything that was in there, in my add-ons folder, and just started from scratch. And today I was able to log into ESO for the first time in ever without popping 50 bazillion errors that stuff was wrong. And actually my UI was the way I like my UI to be. So yay, I might actually start playing ESO again. And then also the mails that you get with ingredients when you can hire somebody to go fetch ingredient stuff for you, those continue to make me giggle. I got
those are amazing.
They're so funny. I got one that said he was thinking of giving up this way of life to buy a pub, and then the next day he changed his mind because something happened in a pub. I don't know. It's just really funny the way those mails go. So Pine Leaf, how was your week?
I'll begin with my Landrival Brawler, where I spent most of my week on there. I managed to unlock several skirmishes, partly by leveling and partly by getting through much of the Moria content and doing those 3 skirmishes that are in Moria. After that, I then looked into a mirror and saw the forecast, let's say the prediction that she has for the Brawlers. That's a new one on there, so I wanted to have seen that before. And I think that based on the description that it's in the Bloody Gore, unfortunately, which is or actually in Saragoth. I think it's in Saragoth, actually. So, all right, what do I got to do in Saragoth? Does that mean that I want to hear it while doing the? Because usually it's when you're doing an instance. So I'm wondering. All right. So I'm not exactly sure what that's going to entail in there, or if I'm ever going to find out. But
I don't know. I
anyway,
still haven't. Champions still haven't had theirs.
they have. What was the champions one?
Something about a forest. I don't know. It still hasn't come true.
Oh, something about a forest. Ooh. Yeah, like. So yeah, I don't know
That's what I was going to ask. Now that we have our new class for brawlers, when do we get to see what their future thing is going to be?
That's what he was just talking about.
Yeah,
That's literally what he was just talking about. It's the Mirror of Galadriel thing.
Yeah, I tried to pick it up to do something and it went quiet and I was like, I didn't hear part of it, so my bad.
Anyway, yes. So I have a feeling it's Argonite at the probably in when you are climbing Argonite with the Rangers or something like that. That it's going to be related to that is the impression I get from it.
The champion one says, "A shadow beneath the trees, it moves without sound. Might will not avail you. It stalks without mercy, unrelenting. Someone bellows a challenge, and suddenly a beast is by your side. Whether this beast be friend or foe, I cannot see. I hope you will know the difference."
Well, the minstrel one still hasn't come up either.
Yeah.
Oh, the minstrel one? I can't remember what the minstrel one is.
The minstrel one says, "Stairs climb unceasingly into the heights. A city sleeps, its inhabitants gone. But not all, not yet. Those that remain dream a restless dream. Will your song stir them to wakefulness, minstrel? Is that to be your fate?" That would be cool for something to happens in Rune. Because there's something weird going on in Rune.
And we know that many of the cities in Rune have been long abandoned due to the plague, because when the plague hit Rune, their cities became abandoned as a result of it. So there are probably plenty of abandoned stairs all the way through there.
There's no forest coming up in Gundabad for the champion, though.
All right. Yeah, there's definitely no forest coming up in Gundabad, and but there might be plenty of stairs. Yeah, that's. Yeah, so
just ask Krister.
Yes, just ask Krister.
Stairs and stairs.
Plenty of stairs.
Yes. All right.
The never-ending stairy.
Well, on top of that, yes. On top of that, my brawler then also participated in Friday Night Fights. So this is the first time I did any group content with my brawler. So I was level 55, and I guess our group was from 50 to about mid-60s, I guess was the range of characters that we had in there. And we ran a couple of skirmishes, and we also ran the water wing, and the Wraith of Water was really, really tough with the group that we had in there. They had me tanking, so here I am trying my first attempt at tanking on a brawler, since normally I was running in red line, so now I'm trying to learn blue line as we're going through this instance here. So it wasn't exactly perfectly in sync. We did eventually defeat the boss, so that was good. So I think I'm starting to learn how things work on the brawler and all there. Also, while I was going through on practicing with the brawler, I was on my Crick Hollow brawler. I was going through Evendim, so I was testing how powerful I was in the 30s. So I started out, I ran Thievery and Mischief. I got through that pretty quickly, so I thought, all right, how would I go? How is it Thievery and Mischief at Tier 2? So I ran Tier 2 Thievery and Mischief, and that actually went pretty quickly. After a couple more levels, I decided, all right, very well, let's push this to the limit. Let's see how Tier 3 Thievery and Mischief goes. All right. It made things slow enough that I was saying I'm not going to do tier 3 on a regular basis, but I did get all the way through the skirmish. Now, I had to resummon my herbalist a couple of times during the course of the skirmish, but I myself managed to get all the way through it without any deaths in there. So that's pretty much on the how things are feeling in there. I was also doing a couple of quests about 2 to 3 levels above me just to see how things are going. And when I was going through the area where all those tombs are, I think I was level 36 when I did those quests, 36, 37. And yeah, those mobs pretty much just melted away. Now, I don't know if that's a factor of the brawler or if it's a factor of the current
Fire.
tuning for that level.
Fire. If your mobs are melting away, there is something to do with fire involved.
I think I was being a little figurative there rather than literal. And anyway, I think mobs will burn rather than melt. If we were talking,
depends
literally.
on the mob, I guess. I mean, you would have thought that would have been true with the whole end of Indiana Jones, the very first movie, but we had melty people.
All right, you've got a point there. But in that case, that did not involve fire.
I don't know what to call that. I mean,
The anger of God smiting people.
Yes. And over on Honor, my warden there was searching Agernath for plague samples. And now that I heard the prediction from Galadriel, I think, oh boy, my brawler is not going to enjoy fulfilling the prophecy if it's what I think it is. And that concludes my week in LOTRO. And as for news beyond LOTRO, we have another wallpaper for Minas Ithil, Once Tower of the Moon. This is the 4th wallpaper relating to this poem. And that's another piece wallpaper by Darren Loremaster. Our top supporter this month is LOTRObuild.com. LOTRObuild.com is a full LOTRO database that includes an items database, a relics database, and a titles database. Also, you can use it right from your Discord server with LOTRObuild bot. We currently have 16 supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, you could go to the donations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money would be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. This week, we did not receive any emails, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@LOTROplayers.com. You can also follow us at Twitter. Players Alliance at Players Ally, LOTRO Players at LOTRO Players, Arendis at Arendis, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, Senswinda at Senswinda, Terry Edwin at Terry Edwin, Guarendis at Guarendis, and Calabathian at Calabathian. The Players Alliance has 2 shows. On Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. You can join us for our shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.